Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Griot's Garage YouTube Live. Today we're going to focus on wheels and tires. If this is your first time here, I'm Nick.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Stevie.
And together we will teach you the proper methods of wheel and tire cleaning. So stick with us. We are outdoors once again in the wonderful Northwest. We've had a rainy, sunny day like normal in spring. So cope with us as we bear with the elements. Mustangs with obnoxious exhaust and wind. But I hope you all are doing well. We here at Griot's Garage are again very thankful to be continuing to operate our business. We have had a very healthy staff as we've taken a lot of precautions. 90% of our Tacoma workforce is working from home, with the exception of our product development team that continues to work on product projects that are year-long, and we're just as busy as we've always been. So we're very thankful for you, our customers, for keeping us busy, and we're thankful to be able to continue to operate. Our store in Tacoma is still open on a will call basis only from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday we are open an extra hour until 3 p.m. So you can call ahead, place an order with us, and we'll bring it to your curbside so you don't have to come in the store. You cannot shop in the store or go to the auto display. We're hoping that normalizes in the near future this summer so we can have some car shows. And of course, we're open for orders online. But without further ado, we have a couple comments. Stevie, you wanted to weigh in. We had an awesome virtual Caffeine and Gasoline where you guys submitted all of your photos. We told some awesome stories, featured some great cars from you guys, our customers. And Stevie had a couple people write back to her, and we thought it was pretty special to start and share that. You let me know when you're ready for that.
Yeah, I'll have to load it just a second.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get to that later in the show. But we do have a promo code for you all. After you learn everything you need to know about wheel cleaning from us, we do have a promo code. That code is SMHL5. Spend $100 at the store, you get a free heavy-duty wheel cleaning kit. That kit features a couple of the tools that we're going to use and heavy-duty wheel cleaner, which is an awesome product. So today we're going to take a wheel off of this Focus and do a wheel on cleaning, show you proper techniques, and go through a lot of the questions you guys submitted. You had some specific questions about what to use on specific finishes, such as Plastidip, when to ceramic coat, how do I clean up heavily embedded, iron and tar, and we're going to be able to approach all of those things in this. So without further ado, let's jump into some wheel cleaning products.
All right, so we're going to start on the wheel on the car. Start with the back, save the dirty front one for the wheels off here. Use our collapsible silicone bucket. For those of you that haven't seen this bucket before, it is an awesome dedicated wheel cleaning bucket that you can use. It's a little bit smaller than the big bucket, so you don't need as much water normally when you're cleaning your wheels, so it's a great way to set yourself up for that. It's a big debate when it comes to wheel cleaning whether or not you want to or need to pre-rinse. So that's something that we were going back and forth on prior to this, but it is, I would say, somewhat preference-based and then also somewhat situation-dependent.
Yeah.
If you're working on hotter wheels, pre-rinsing them to cooling them down will be beneficial. If they've been out in the sun, of course, you don't want to clean your wheels right after coming back from the track or from a spirited drive. Normally, you don't want them to be piping hot.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that, and as we kind of reiterate, one of the most important things is working on a cool wheel, much like working on a cool paint surface, is going to give you a lot of time to work. And that's important, especially if you're paying for expensive chemicals like our iron and fallout remover or heavy-duty wheel cleaner, that if you put them on a hot surface, it's going to accelerate their dry and not allow them to dwell. Likewise, if you've got extremely hot brake rotors or a wheel surface that is dirty and you spray water onto it, you may run the risk of warping your brake rotors. Now, that's a minimal risk, but it represents a risk. And then also creating further problems for your wheel by spraying it onto a heavily dirty wheel where that water dries and you now have a water spot to deal with. So cool to the touch. One of the first things, just touch it. Ideally, you've got gloves on too. That's a great protective step.
Cleaning is messy, so gloves will save you some cleanup at the end too. Those of you that have used our heavy-duty wheel cleaner or iron and fallout remover, these share an active ingredient, sodium thioglycolate, which is the main active that reacts with the iron particles in the brake dust and turns it purple as it's working. That ingredient doesn't smell the best in raw form, so sometimes you will get a slight odor on your hands, but I think we've done a great job masking that in these two products. They both have a very pleasant scent compared to a lot of the other comparable products out there. So we're going to go ahead and start with our heavy duty wheel cleaner. This is a pretty mildly dirty wheel. You know, the barrel has some pretty heavy brake dust on it, but the face isn't all too bad. Our heavy duty wheel cleaner is a thicker viscosity so that it'll have better cling on the face of your wheel, and it's going to break down that brake dust before you even start agitating. So it's going to do a lot of the work for you before you ever touch the wheel. None of these wheel cleaners are magical products that you can simply spray on and rinse off a super dirty wheel and expect it to be perfectly clean. The only situation I would say you could do that would be, you know, if you have a protectant applied and you're using like our iron and fallout remover or heavy duty wheel cleaner on a maintained wheel and using a pressure washer to rinse it off. In some situations you will be able to do that touchless, but don't necessarily expect that depending on how dirty your wheels are.
One important point too, Sam, is people had asked about acidity, pH level.
pH balance.
Yeah, all of our wheel cleaners are pH balanced, so anything that is purporting to be touch-free or spray on, rinse off, most likely going to be acidic. Now, that's not necessarily a terrible thing if it's slightly acidic. However, over time, you do run the risk of damage to that. Again, if you're doing that on a hot wheel, then you really run the risk of damage. So ours are pH neutral. They're safe on almost all wheel surfaces. In fact, I don't think there's one that they're not safe on. But there are some products such as Plastidip, powder coating, that you want to exercise some caution on, and we'll talk about those a little later in the show.
A big gust of wind coming through. Live action. All right, put those brakes on there. It's pretty sweet.
So Sam is going to do one wheel that is on, and we're doing the rear wheel because one of the problems that we don't find, like we do with the front wheel, is brake rotor clearance.
Yeah, plenty of room to get the brushes back there in the barrel.
So he's going to demonstrate one on and then one off. We're going to take that off and talk to you about that as well.
So we also have our standard wheel cleaner, which is another option. One of the main ways we position these two, you know, if you have light dusting brakes or you clean your wheels frequently and they're not getting very dirty, the standard wheel cleaner is a great solution. Or if you have specifically delicate wheels, say Plastidip, this is going to be a little safer on, or, you know, an at-home rattle can job, that'll be a little more safer on as well. But the HD is typically the one I'm going to reach for when I'm doing wheel cleaning. We're going to go ahead and spray this on dry, as this wheel is nice and cool to the touch, and we want this to get the maximum dwell time for the best performance. So
now, Sam, you're going circular on your spray. Is there a reason you go one way or another when you're applying this product?
I like to start at the bottom, and for the same reason that we recommend starting at the bottom when you foam the car, so that all of your foam has the maximum time to dwell. You're not spraying the top, and then once you get the bottom, the top's essentially dripped off. So sometimes I'll reapply. I tend to, you know, be quite liberal with my wheel cleaning products. More is normally better because you want to lubricate that surface nicely, especially when you have heavy brake dust like we do back in those barrels. So focus on the barrels, and it'll be much easier for you to clean them. You can see, you might be able to see this on camera, through the gaps in the wheel, you can see the rotor. You're already getting that color change effect. Some wheels and brake pads won't have as dramatic of a color change effect because they're either a composite pad or a ceramic pad that's not putting off as much iron. So of course, you know, if you have metal brake rotors on the vehicle, those are going to put off iron, so you should get some bleed. But some vehicles will bleed more or less than others, so just keep that in mind. Don't be alarmed if you spray it on and don't see the bleed.
Yeah, so you're going to let that dwell for a little bit too, and I think that's another important point, and I'll reiterate that, is that before you put on the tire cleaner, dwell time with a chemical such as heavy-duty wheel cleaner is critical. So if you take away from its ability to dwell, you're essentially just introducing more handwork and not allowing that chemical to activate and do its work as much as possible. Why don't you apply the tire cleaner, and then I'll speak to one other common problem and a couple questions we got in the live as it relates to why isn't my wheel turning purple?
Yeah. So I like to spray wheel cleaner on first, like Nick just said. Gives you longer dwell. Let it dwell while you're applying your tire cleaner. Foaming tire cleaner has quickly become one of my favorite products. I have 2 lifted vehicles with big tires, so it makes quick work of those and is really just an exceptional cleaner. This is now our most capable tire cleaning product. We also have rubber cleaner, which is a slightly more mild cleaner. This is also great in wheel wells, engine bays, and other surfaces like that.
And floor mats, we had that question as well.
Yes, both are great on floor mats.
Yeah, so again, back to the wheel while everything is doing its work. Again, part of the wheel cleaning process is waiting. And if you set yourself up for success with a cool surface, you can let those chemicals do your work or do their work, and we'll see that happen over time. Now, we had a couple people come in recently, in fact, and say, I use heavy-duty wheel cleaner. My wheels aren't turning purple. Why is that? Well, Sam addressed it a little bit in that it really depends on A, how dirty your wheel is, B, how long do you let that product work, and C, what is your brake composition? Steel rotors and iron-heavy pads. My old Jeep Grand Wagoneer, everything's steel and very high iron brake pad combination. That is the nastiest purple wheel you'll ever see. Full carbon ceramic setup will be dusty, but you won't have as high a metal particulate and you won't get as exaggerated effect. Likewise, you could have steel rotors and a carbon ceramic or a composite brake pad and have those reduced ferrous particles in your brake dust. So it's also the composition of your brake setup combined with how long you allow that product to dwell. Some people will go right to work. They'll never see that action happen. And guess what? Your wheel comes out clean because you've still lubricated the wheel and you've agitated the dirt away. Is that less safe? No. Does it create slightly more work in the form of agitation? Yes. Are you essentially not getting all you can out of your chemical? Yes. But you've still got a clean wheel. So
absolutely.
Different ways to skin the cat. But if you're not seeing that chemical reaction, just ask yourself, what are my brakes composed of? Should I let this wait longer? And you can let it dwell for 5 to 6 minutes before you get a solid reaction and a color change.
Yeah, we've been going probably at least 3 minutes or so here, and we're starting to get some pretty heavy bleed, especially in the corners where you have focused brake dust, those embedded particles that tend to stick. The iron and fallout remover and heavy-duty wheel cleaner are great when you get those heavy deposits that don't come off with a normal cleaner. Just to speak to when you do this in a normal process where you're doing all the wheels on the car, a lot of the time I like to do 2 at a time. So that gives you something to do while you're waiting for one to dwell. Spray it on one, go to the next, spray it on the other, come back, clean one, and then clean the next. That way they've both had good time to dwell. So now this has been dwelling for plenty of time, we're gonna come in and scrub. So I'm gonna start with the barrel. My favorite tool for wheel barrels, or one of my favorites, is our large bendable wheel brush. This has a flexible shaft on it so you can bend it to get behind the spokes, get the hub, the caliper, and virtually the entire barrel with this single brush. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the wheel, and we'll just go from spoke opening to spoke opening.
Yeah, I've gotten into the habit from when I was very young. My first job was wheel boy. That my dad taught me to start at the little air nub where you fill your tire up, just as a matter of reference, so that you always know where you start and where you finish. Now, it may not make too much of a difference on a simple spoke pattern like this, but on an 18-spoke OZ Arista on a Volkswagen R, you will very easily forget where you started, especially if you've got a dark color. Like I had powder-coated black wheels, and that was the only way I knew that I had cleaned every spoke when I got back to the little air nipple. Stevie, what's going on in the chat? Anybody shouting?
We did have a good question, which Sam already kind of covered as far as doing 2 wheels at once, but do you have any other tips that you use to save time when cleaning wheels?
I mean, there's no magical tip for sure. I would say doing 2 at a time will help. Using HD or iron and fallout, those are both going to be time savers just because they make the agitation that much easier and guarantee that you're truly getting a completely clean wheel. A good set of brushes too. I mean, cleaning a more complex faced wheel with like one brush can pose some difficulty with getting the wheel quickly clean and 100% clean. So you'll see, I mean, by the time we're done with these 2 wheels, we'll probably have used, say, 4 to 6 brushes between the wheels and the tires. And the brush selection will all depend on the size and shape of the wheel, really.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I have 2 very different sets of wheels, and I think I have 6 wheel tools, and I average 2 to 3. I have 1 tire tool and about, again, the lug nut brush, a spoke brush, or a barrel brush like that, and then a face. I use our 3-finger wash mitt. So the other thing too, if you're doing 2 wheels at a time, just because your wheels are cool, make sure to avoid sunlight as well. Because that will, I've been in some high sun situations. I come back and the tire cleaner has, started to dry and it accelerates, and then guess what? I've done a sloppy wheel job. So the other thing too, if you're an older guy or you're like me, I had my surgery on my knee. I don't really like bending over as much. I'm maybe not as spry as I was. Not that old, but even so, nice creeper or a knee pleaser, something to sit down on or get really low and work your wheels. Our compact sit-on creeper is a lifesaver for those low wheel jobs.
I'm just a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I know. Whenever Sam and I, we'll set up a photo shoot, we need to clean this one wheel to take a shot on it, and all of a sudden Sam's gone. He's on the other side of the car cleaning the other 2 just as a matter of principle. So
it's a problem.
Yeah, we've all got issues. If you're watching this, you probably have issues as well. I want to do a giveaway. We had a question come in. Clearly somebody who hasn't watched us before, and I love giving stuff away to people like that. This came from Instagram. It's NBL Detailing. Looking to venture out and try new products. I've never tried your products. What sets Griot's apart from others? I think the thing I'm most confident about our products is that they do what we say they're going to do. They're very reasonably priced, and if you're not satisfied with them, I take that personally. All of our employees take that personally, and we back it up with our guarantee, 180-day satisfaction guarantee. You can get your money back 6 months after you buy it. The other thing too that we're really proud of is that we are an actual manufacturer of our chemical products. We have a full R&D team, 3 chemists, 4 quality controllers, and an entire manufacturing department out in our manufacturing facility in Indianapolis, where we mix, bottle, develop, and manufacture all of our liquid chemicals here in the United States. We are extremely proud of that. We compete in a field that is rife with private labelers and pretenders, and we are not one of those people. So for that question, we always like to reiterate those things because we're very, very proud of those aspects. This is our 30th year in business too. We're not just an Instagram ad popping up and disappearing 6 months from now when they didn't hit their sales goal. We've been around and we'll stay around. So it's our 30th anniversary this year. Obviously what's going on in the world is complicating some of how we're going to celebrate that. But for that, NBL Detailing, you're going to get an HD wheel cleaning kit, our foaming tire cleaner, which Sam is demonstrating, tire scrubber brush, which we can also show you, and then our ceramic 3-in-1 wax, which you can apply on your wheels as well. It's a great way to protect them. So let's get back to Sam. You can tell us what you're doing, but NBL Detailing, if you're watching, email us at social@griotsgarage.com. We'll follow up and send you your kit.
Sam, we did have Brandon asking what your favorite tool is for lug nuts. I saw you using the boar's hair brush.
Yeah, I tend to go outside of our product scope a little bit with my favorite lug nut brush.
How dare you?
We have 2 options for lug nuts. We have our lug nut brush, which is a phenomenal tool. This has no bristles in the center, so it'll fit nicely around the lug nut, and you can really get into that recess and scrub it out nicely. To be honest, this one is a little bit easier to get in there around your lug and get that whole recess clean. But one of my favorite just all-around brushes is our boar's hair detailing brush. These are great for other areas besides the wheels as well. Of course, normally you want to dedicate one to the wheels. If you're going to use it on the wheels, don't go use it on other areas of the vehicle, but pick yourself up 2 or 3 of these. Keep one for interior, one for wheels, and then one for like trim and seals and stuff like that.
Emblems, all sorts of stuff.
Yep, and I'll take this and I'll go over the lugs, and then a lot of time I'll go over the center cap and around the valve stem and areas like that as well. So both great tools, but the boar's hair detailing brush is my personal favorite.
We had a quick question about the safety of this product, of all of our wheel cleaning products, on plastic center caps.
No issues.
Yeah.
Very safe. I have plastic center caps on my Land Cruiser, some FJ Cruiser wheels on there, and they're just, you know, rattle can center caps. Never had an issue. I'm typically always using our heavy duty or even sometimes iron and fallout remover.
Yeah. And can I point out one really big distinction?
Yeah.
Heavy duty wheel cleaner and iron and fallout remover, you said they share the same active. Now there's a difference in terms of the actual formulas. The iron and fallout remover, higher viscosity.
Higher viscosity, higher concentration of that same active.
Yeah.
So it's going to be stronger essentially for a severely dirty wheel. That's what we're going to end up using on the front wheel to get that dirtier barrel as clean as we can. There are some spots on this barrel that if I was taking this wheel off, I would definitely hit with the iron and fallout remover. There are some heavier brake dust deposits, like one down here in the center of the wheel.
They typically congregate around wheel weights as well.
Yep,
and, you know,
absolutely.
really nasty spots.
Yeah, and that's a great way to get those completely clean. And then I used our foaming tire cleaner on the tire. You can see that brown up as the foam dwells. And then I came in with our Ergo Wave foam scrubber. I like these a lot for low profile tires. Just because they're smaller, they're easy to manipulate. You can get your thumb kind of into the edge and push it down there into the bead of the tire to get that nice and clean. But the tire scrubbing brush is also an exceptional tool, specifically if you have textured sidewalls or lots of lettering and siping on the sidewalls. The bristles help get in there nicely. So now we'll go ahead and give it a quick rinse.
Shout out Jeff Brown, Ergo Wave Scrubber.
Yep. I always like using a pressure washer for wheel cleaning. Just makes your life easier. Not completely necessary, but definitely beneficial.
How's it going over there, Stevie?
Now, we didn't really focus on the brake or the hub much. We're going to leave that for the wheels off process. Yeah. Makes that a lot easier. So when you're cleaning wheels, rinsing is very important. You don't want to leave these wheel cleaners on the wheel to dry. I always spend special attention on the lug nut recesses to make sure that the water coming out of those is completely free and clear. You're not getting any suds. So we'll just give that a final. It's looking good there. You don't want any, soapy residues drying on the wheel and messing up your nice wheel cleaning job. So that one's essentially clean and ready to be dried off.
Sometimes I think it looks pretty good, and you got the barrels pretty clean. And if you're attacking barrels every time, you're going to keep them clean, but you're going to see a drastic difference when we take this wheel off.
Big difference, yeah. I mean, there's some tar in there that we didn't get off, which that's one benefit of wheels off. But I mean, I always try to clean the barrels when I do a wheel cleaning. If you keep up on it, you may never have to do a wheels off detail, or at least it's not going to be as necessary.
Don't suggest that. Wheels off is the best. Wheels off is some of the most fun. So
super satisfying.
If you like mouth-watering details, wheels off detail has got to be one of the best.
There's nothing better than putting your clean wheels back on after a wheels off detail.
Just like, your old pair of sneakers, you like detail them, you put them back on. They still stink, but they look like $1 million.
Let me give my tools a quick rinse here.
All right.
Speaking of tools, Sam, they're giving you a hard time in the chat. They said off with his head.
Oh, man.
What'd I do wrong?
You mentioned a product outside of our
line.
Oh,
come on.
Doe at Scale Model Frenzy asked what the tip of the barrel brush you were using looks like if it's exposed metal wire, and it's not. I'm not sure if you can see here, but it does have a plastic tip on there to protect your wheel. You're not going to worry about scratching.
Kind of sheath at the bottom too, so if you're jamming it into we had a question about the Lincoln wheels that are 12 inches deep. If you're really trying to get to the back and you're running into the face of the spoke, that's going to hurt your hand, and just a nice little stopper.
Yeah, nice little rubber hand guard there to prevent the knuckle busting.
Pretty cool tool. If you're using on a really dirty tire, just go slow as you enter the barrel, because you will find a way, those bristles, to kind of kick up some of the dust if it's super dirty. So just that's the only downside of having that kind of flexible of a bristle.
Agreed, yeah. You can end up with a face full of dirty wheel water if you pull those out too quick.
And just to reiterate again, the importance of gloves. If you're washing your hands as frequently as I am and your hands look like just like these valleys of cracked, guess what's going to find its way in there? Brake dust. It is going to sit in your skin for a couple days. So glove up, and just take caution with those extremely dirty wheels. But you should be cleaning your wheels every week, right?
Yeah, and to add to that, we're not concerned about the products we're using damaging our hands. We're more concerned about the brake dust. Brake dust isn't always the safest stuff to be getting all over your skin.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and take this one off. We've already got the car jacked up and supported with a jack stand. Always use jack stands when you're jacking up your vehicle, no matter what you're doing. Could save your life or at least thousands of dollars in damage. Your car comes off.
No, we actually had a customer come in and he lost his son to the car collapsing on him while he was under it. So,
yeah, I was doing a quick service and
yeah,
car came down.
Extremely tragic. So take precaution, but everybody likes the wugga wugga of an impact gun. So why don't you get that out of there really quick?
NASCAR pit crew. All right, so we're using Matt's Focus ST here. He's got some wheel locks on, so we're going to use our wheel lock tool inside of the 3/4 protective wheel socket. We offer a standard set that comes with 5 sockets from 13/16 all the way up to 1 inch and 1/16. These are fitted with a nylon sleeve to prevent damage to your lug nut recesses as you're banging around in there with a torque wrench or an impact gun.
If you're taking your wheels off as often as I do, it's a really nice thing to have.
Absolutely.
Won't chip away at your paint.
Especially if you have nice wheels. It's a cheap insurance for nice wheels. Now, when you're removing lugs, it's always a good idea to do this in a star-like pattern, as when you reinstall them. I like to use my toe, kind of keep the wheel on the hub when you're on that last lug.
All right,
that one came off nice and easy. Sometimes, if the wheels have been on the car for a while, you may have to get out a rubber mallet or something to bang them off, but hopefully you're maintaining it well enough that you don't have to do that. We're gonna set this on this rubber mat here, prevent any damage to the wheel while we're cleaning it. And now, we've got full access to the barrel. You got tons of caked on brake dust back there, got a little bit of road tar. And then we've got full access to not only our wheel, but the whole suspension, your brake rotor, your wheel well. We had a question about carpeted wheel well liners. The liners in the back are actually carpet, so we can speak to that some once we get this done, but pressure washer is a great way to easily clean carpeted wheel well liners.
It's really the best way I've found.
One of the only ways if you don't want to drive yourself crazy.
So we have one other winner now. You're starting with the back, moving your way forward.
Yep.
And you're obviously going to have some dwell time again. So why don't you apply the same? You're going to apply the same products, or you're going to use a different product?
I'm going to use our iron and fallout remover this time.
Okay.
Since we're attacking some heavier brake dust on the front wheel. I always like to clean the barrel first, so that when you're cleaning the face, it's the last thing, so it's not getting dirty as you clean the barrel.
Yeah.
I'll just stand the wheel up for this so you guys can see a little better.
All right. So Sam's going to apply iron and fallout remover to the inside barrel, and then probably not foaming tire on the back. If you are crazy, you might clean your entire wheel or tire at this point in time, and hey, nobody's going to blame you. Especially if you're like putting your wheels away for winter storage or swapping them out. I always like to pick up clean tires, so it's part of my practice. But yeah, I might get too much joy from this task in general. But we have a good question, and this is really common these days. In fact, it's pretty much engineered into all modern rubber, is mold release and that browning effect we're seeing. Now, JLP C. Sieben from Instagram asks, can you address the browning of tires and the impact cleaners or tire shine have on it? I've heard it is normal for tires to release this as it's part of the aging. What is best to clean and protect to slow the process? So, wonderful question. Again, it's a mold release, a UV protection. It's not unnatural for it to happen. but it does look terrible and it exacerbates, it makes your tires look that much dirtier. So before the advent of our foaming tire cleaner, we are suggesting a pretty aggressive approach with a scrubbing brush and an orbital as the best way to remove it. Our rubber prep does actually remove that pretty well as well, but foaming tire cleaner is a great way to do it. Now, you can always just dress on top of that and hide it. However, you're not going to get as good of a bond to the tire, and you're really just masking it. You're not curing it. So
a lot of times you'll still see it too, and it can also occur from older rubber where you have the anti-ozonants in the tire leaching their way to the surface from being exposed to the UV and oxygen, and a lot of times you'll clean it off and it'll come back. So it's going to depend on the tire. You know, I know some tire compounds do it worse than others. So you see it a lot on tires that are stored outside for long periods of time, like RVs, boat trailers, stuff like that. So you can see now we've got a real nice bleed going in there, and you can see that brown coming through on the tire cleaner. I went ahead and did the crazy step. So
yeah, that's good. We're going to see some, I mean, the nice thing is that you can't really know when this was done last, right? I mean, chances are never. Matt bought this car used, so the previous owner probably didn't take his wheels off, probably wasn't a complete psychopath. But so JLP Seaman, again, it's a good question. Long story short, it's a natural. It's happening a lot more with modern tire compounds. You can remove it by cleaning your tire. In fact, it's probably recommended that you do try and scrub and remove that every time you apply a tire dressing, just to make your tire look better, a truer black. And then again, it will come back after. If you've already noticed it, it's going to come back. So just be proactive with that. Clean your tires as part of your wheel cleaning regimen, and you should be able to manage it pretty well.
Should get a little less as you clean it up too. So now that this has been dwelling for 3 to 5 minutes, we've got a really nice bleed going, a lot of brown coming through the foam on the tire. We'll go ahead and start again with our large bendable wheel brush. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bend to get in there a little bit better, the back of the face.
Mediocre Handle asked, is heavy-duty wheel cleaner acidic? Does it come with the usual risk of cleaning with acid, as we addressed earlier? All of our wheel cleaners are pH neutral, non-acidic, and they are safe for all wheel finishes.
SVJ did ask, should I clay before or after the iron remover? And typically you'll want to use an iron removing product first. That way you're removing all the ferrous contaminants,
Always
and then
first,
clay to remove, always first, and then clay to remove the organic contaminants that are still embedded in the surface that the iron and fallout remover isn't removing.
Yeah, I mean, part of that logic is that, again, it will make your claying easier, and if you're using a traditional clay bar that absorbs the surface contaminants, you're reducing the amount of contaminants on your paint so they don't get pulled into your clay bar, thus extending the life of your clay bar. If you're using one of the synthetic surface prep products, that's less, or not as important, but in terms of process, do the chemical decontamination first, and then the mechanical decontamination.
And then to go along with that, Doe at Scale Model Frenzy asked, would these wheel cleaners be harmful to the vehicle's paint or glass? And no, they will not. Heavy duty specifically can be used on the paint as an iron ferrous contaminant removal product, but since it's not as thick and clinging of a formula and it's not as concentrated, it's not going to be as effective as the iron and fallout remover.
Yeah, good point. In general, safe for the paint. You don't want them to dry on the paint. You don't want any chemicals to really dry on the paint. So usually when you're in the process of washing your car, you're going to do your wheels and tires first so you don't spray brake dust and dirty wheel and tire juice all over your freshly cleaned paint. So I always do those first. If you've just gotten back from a drive and you're insisting upon washing your car right away, consider letting it cool off. If you're just stubbornly going to jump into it, you may wash your car first, as the paint may be cooler. Just as a matter of process, that'll give your wheels a little bit more time to cool off, so you don't run into major problems when you do it. That's the only time I can ever think of that I do wheels second.
Just add a light dusting of cleaner halfway through there. You can really see the versatility of the boar's hair detailing brush. Great way to get into the wheel bead there.
And this is one of my favorite chores. Cleaning wheels in general, I always think makes the biggest difference. You can have a dirty car and clean wheels and the car will look clean.
It's a sin.
Yes, it may be a sin, but it's the truth, especially if you've got a bright painted silver. But the wheels off, I mean, it just gives you such an opportunity to reset. And after we've done the initial cleaning, we are going to do a decontamination step on these wheels as part of preparation for protection. But gosh, it's satisfying to get into places you know are dirty and get them clean. Okay, Joe Edgar asked, I think he's asking me, when they're cleaning the wheels of the Continental, do you have to do half and roll it forward to do the rear? Yes, because of that fender overhang on that wheel. Pretty much only a third of my rear wheel is exposed at any given time. So lots of maneuvering. I can't wait to drive that thing later this spring and summer and get those wheels dirty and then clean them again. They are big, they're 12-inch wide. That is a nasty barrel to have to clean, but I signed myself up for it, so whatever.
That's a good thing to mention with wheel width and size. The bendable wheel brush, and then, where'd it go? Our extra large microfiber wheel cleaning wand. These are my two favorites for wide wheels. You'll get the whole barrel nice and easy with either of these.
Yeah, the only limitation is going to be your spokes and how much space you have.
Definitely.
So that really is why we have such a wide variety of wheel cleaning tools, is tons of different wheel designs. Again, that 18 spoke versus something as simple as, yes, this may be a forked 5-spoke, but you got a lot of space to work in that wheel. Do yourself a favor, own only 5-spoke wheels if you're wholly unimaginative and lazy.
Yeah, I'll be honest, anytime I'm like looking to buy a car, I always consider how hard it's going to be to clean the wheel.
Oh, try cleaning a 14-inch BBS basket weave on an old BMW with their notorious brake dust.
I think
that'll drive you nuts.
I think the Ferrari wires are some of the hardest I've ever had to clean.
We did get some wire questions too.
Wire wheels are beautiful, but man, keep them clean because cleaning them is not fun.
So Jim Cavalier asks, is Griot's rubber cleaner safe to use on WeatherTech floor mats? Does it leave a slippery residue? The answer is yes, it is safe for floor mats, and no, it does not leave a residue. I've actually found that my favorite product to use for floor mats is foaming surface prep at either 10-to-1, or if I'm doing that on the car, I simply pull the floor mats out and foam them at the same time. Does a lot of work to clean them, and it really, really resets the rubber.
Yeah, and if you're using a pressure washer, normally you don't have to scrub. You just foam it on, let it dwell, rinse it off slowly with the pressure washer, and they're brand new again.
Unless you got a couple monsters sitting in the back, spitting out their gum and stomping it into your floor mats.
Yeah, we both know how that goes.
Mine's not chewing gum yet,
yeah,
but I've had to deal with some of those, you step on some gum on the sidewalk and all of a sudden you track it in and all of a sudden 3 months pass and I'm asking my wife how many times she stepped in gum in that time. But
all right, so we've got this dwelling here. Starting to get some color change. See some brown coming through the tire, so I think it's about ready to scrub. Find our
you have any other live questions coming in, Stevie?
Pinoy Car Guy 88 asked, just to clarify, is there a particular order that you should do, tire before wheel or wheel before tire?
I like, like we said in the beginning, I like spraying my tire as the wheel cleaner is dwelling. And then if you want to give your wheel some extra time to dwell, you can always clean the tire while you're waiting on the wheel to dwell. But
I think that's the most important distinction. You pay for chemicals to have some cleaning capability and a chemical reaction that should make it easier and make less agitation required. If you want to spray this and go straight to work, again, there's no harm in that. It's just you're not going to get as much bang for your buck out of that chemical. Now, I pretty much follow the same process as Sam. I spray the wheel face and then I spray the tire. And I start working the tire before I work the wheel face because that heavy-duty wheel cleaner or iron and fallout, it has a substantially longer dwell time and kind of reaction cycle than the foaming tire cleaner.
That's a very good point. Yeah, your foaming tire cleaner is normally going to dry faster than your wheel cleaner will.
And you're going to see it react probably 30 to 45 seconds after application, even though you can allow it to dwell for a few minutes. Whereas that heavy-duty wheel cleaner, it's probably going to start really grabbing on and reacting about 2 to 3 minutes after application and up to 5 to 6 minutes.
You guys can't tell, I really like the foaming tire cleaner.
Yeah.
I like adding a second shot of it as I'm cleaning, just to make sure you're getting that initial layer of dirt and grime off, and then hitting it again to get it really nice and clean. Clean tires will accept dressing so much better. They'll look way better. They'll stay nice longer. You'll prevent sling, all sorts of reasons to spend a good amount of time cleaning those tires.
So just to be clear, JLP C. Seaman, you are one of the other pre-submit winners. You won the same kit that I alluded to earlier. We are going to give away 2 of those kits to the best live submissions. So if you've been waiting to submit your live question, fire away now. We've got 2 more winners. And that giveaway is HD Wheel Cleaning Kit, Foaming Tire Cleaner, which Sam is displaying extensively, a tire scrubber brush, and ceramic 3-in-1 wax. Likewise, we do have an offer for you all. If you go to the website and you spend $100 with us, not only will you get free shipping, but you will get a free HD wheel cleaning kit, which is a $40 value. Use the code SMHL5 at checkout, and you're going to get that free heavy-duty wheel cleaning kit thrown in with your order.
We did have a few questions about white lettering and white walls and what we recommend for cleaning them.
Foaming tire cleaner.
Foaming tire cleaner is super, super effective. I've got some white lettering on my BF Goodrich's on my Jeep, and I absolutely love it. Peg, our 59 Buick Invicta, big, 3.5-inch tall white walls.
Big, so cool.
We would spend a lot of time with rubber prep. Rubber prep is also really effective, and you can use this without having to introduce water or hose, which is also a possibility for foaming tire cleaner. But if you're talking about an older car and you've got a lower level of comfort about your wheel cleaning process, rubber prep is a great option for that. It's going to be slightly more acidic and be able to break down some of that. Now, there are some extreme measures as well. You can actually use an orbital and a scrubbing pad and go after your white walls that way. But I think you'd be pretty impressed by foaming tire cleaner. Allow it to dwell, allow it to do its work. You'll be surprised at the chemical reaction you witness. And if you are unsure about introducing water on an antique car with white walls, simply wipe up the excess with maybe a utility towel, a throwaway microfiber towel. That big Supercenter shopping place, they have some pretty good deals on throwaway microfiber. Don't put those on your paint, please.
Great wheel towels though, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the foaming tire cleaner is a great way to clean off the mold release and any of the spots or the little markers that are on new tires that you want to get off before you go do your wheel shots and everything.
If I could emphasize one product out of the entire offering that will make the biggest difference to your regimen, it's that product. In just that you've got so much less work to do on your tire. I mean, just so much work is done for you. It's happening right in front of your eyes. It happens very quickly. Extremely good smell, as always, but that little goes a long way, and especially if you got big knobby tires like Sam and I, man, it feels really nice to watch those crevices just get cleaned by chemicals.
Yeah, to the guy who asked for another time-saving tip, that's definitely a good one. It's also a phenomenal shoe cleaner, so if you got some dirty kids at home.
In fact, the white Vans, that white
those
strap-around Vans, that's the perfect product for your shoe detail, tire cleaner.
Go ahead and give this guy a quick rinse.
Nick, Extreme Details wants me to ask how your hair's doing.
Hey, I'm doing my best.
You're doing better than me.
I think my hair is the longest it's been since I was a teenager and had hair down to my shoulders, full on Jeff Spicoli.
I
But
have to get that photo up on the live one of these days.
yeah, we'll have to save that for a rainy day. If we run out of things to talk about,
Yeah, there you go.
we'll show pictures of you with your afro.
I was going to say,
and
yeah, it'd
you.
only be fair to show me with the fro.
Yeah, but no, I can't wait to get a haircut. It's like, I just like having shorter hair.
Yeah.
It's just such a easier,
You may have noticed I don't usually wear a hat in these, but
yeah.
about 4 weeks overdue.
I
for
know,
the
we're all
haircut.
getting a little shy. Everybody is. I'm not willing to let my wife, cut my hair yet, but
Well, my 6-year-old son, he's insistent on the only way I'm cutting his hair is if I let him cut my hair. So you might see me on the next live looking a little funky, but we'll see.
oh man.
His hair is worse than mine, so it needs cut bad.
All right, so as Sam continues to rinse, we're going to talk about claying and decontamination and what benefits that can hold. But we are going to talk about tar removal as well. We had a couple people ask about long-term embedded brake dust, tangible aspects that are embedded in their wheel, super old wheels, and then also tar is not generally removed by our wheel cleaners. So we have some specific ways to address that as well.
Yeah, we've definitely got some of it on this wheel. I'm going to give it a quick rinse, get the rest out, rest of the cleaner out. All right.
We
So
did get
now-
a, sorry.
Go ahead.
We did get a question from DropTop72 asking, are all of these products safe on chrome wheels, and can the ceramic 3-in-1 be used as a sealer for them as well?
Absolutely. They are all safe on chrome wheels for
Yes.
sure.
Definitely safe on chrome. Again, if you're unsure, you can always start with our regular formula wheel cleaner, slightly gentler than the heavy-duty wheel cleaner, but really you don't run any risk with either of these products. Most of the time, the risk is born between what water you may be rinsing it off with, if you've got hard water that you allow to dry on your wheel, creating water spots and damage in that way, and or you allow them to dry because you've done them in a very high heat setting, which again we talked about at the very beginning of the live. Just avoid that if all possible. Any other tips and tricks?
I mean, the water one is a really good thing to point out. I think if you're into maintaining your car, test your water, test the TDS. If it's high, you may benefit from investing in a deionizer or water softener system, because hard water is just going to make your life a lot harder when it comes to maintaining your vehicle with water processes.
So TDS is total dissolved solids, and you can use those. You can find those. We sell one, but they're very common.
You can use the strips too.
You can do it for your own drinking water in your house. Your hose water tends to go through less filters. And maybe if you're on a well, you're going to have harder water. We were actually watching a video of one of our past YouTube Live winners, Benji, in Las Vegas, and we had addressed how hard water can affect foam and surfactants.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Las Vegas, that water definitely going to be harder as it's getting pulled through hundreds of miles of piping before it finally gets to city water. And yeah, his foam output was suffering from that.
Yeah, that was when we were developing our foaming system. We had a pretty big delta in foam output between Washington and our Indiana facility, and that was one of the things we discovered. The TDS in Indiana was much higher than what we were working with here, so definitely check that out if you haven't yet. Like Nick said, we sell the meter. I think it's like right around $10, so
yeah.
pretty cheap and effective way to make sure you're giving your car proper care. Just as a little disclaimer here, we do have some pitting on these wheels, so they're not going to look perfect once we're done with this process. So just
Can you
keep that in
describe
mind.
pitting just for the
So
the
if
layman?
you like down on the bottom of the barrel here, this is essentially corrosion. There are little chips and dents from corrosion into the finish that are not going to come out with decontamination. So on camera, that might look like tar. Some of it is, some of it's for sure on the surface, but a lot of it is defects in the surface, so those won't come out.
And that's totally natural. It happens.
Totally common. If you're driving the car,
yeah,
you're gonna get that here or there.
And granted, you know, you're not gonna lose points on the concours field for that. Well, you may if you run into some jackass, but at the same time, you know, really, you're gonna see such an improvement. And the next step, you're gonna actually reduce some of the actual, like, the visual nature, because that pitting, it may be related to some sharp ferrous metal, maybe from your brake pads or your brake rotor, that shears off over time, embeds itself into the paint, and isn't addressed or removed, and now has created a little hole where that brake dust, you know, collects and then oxidizes or rusts and creates a broader or bigger hole or a pit. And you don't want to refinish your wheels all the time, right? It's not worth it. You can actually do quite a bit by just this deep clean. So we had a question before Sam gets into decontamination of this wheel from Brian England. And he says, my wheels have a shot peened or raw machine finish, and as such can stain easier. What products or techniques can I use to help minimize, remove, and protect against those hard stains? As we just addressed, check your water. Your water is a huge factor here, because if you're going to spray that water on before applying a chemical or rinse your wheel after you've cleaned it with one of these safe chemicals, you could be imparting those stains and damage to that. If you apply a chemical, allow it to dry, that can create a stain. So control your environment, control your water, and if you're really worried about what you perceive to be a sensitive finish, use our standard formula heavy-duty wheel cleaner, or standard formula wheel cleaner. For more common, you know, we really developed the heavy-duty wheel cleaner for BMWs and Mercedes, these soft, aggressive, high-dusting pads to ease some of that cleaning process. You're still going to get a very nice cleaning capability from your wheel cleaner. It just won't have that, you know, mouth-watering bleed effect that you'll see with the heavy-duty or iron and fallout. So again, I hope that answered your question, Brian. Really, it's just it's your water and the chemical you use, non-acidic. Use any of our wheel cleaning tools are going to be gentle enough to not create scratches or scuffs or stains. But then rinse your wheel, and if you're super concerned about your water, you can't control your water, dry it. Dry your wheel.
Yeah, our Airstream drying gun or a blowgun on compressed air hose is a great way to quickly dry the wheel. Especially, you know, you always got water laying in the lug nut recesses and whatnot.
Or like I said, that cost-conscious big super place that has those towels. Yeah, you can buy a pack of those. Those are your wheel towels. Boom, in the trash.
Money.
Don't put them on your paint after you've dried your wheel off, because you're still going to pick up some brake dust with those.
Well, I think you mentioned it too, but getting some protection on them if they're bare metal.
Yeah.
Whether it be polywax or ceramics. Ceramics might go to these days for wheels. So now we'll get in with some further mechanical decontamination here. We're going to use our speed shine as a lubricant. You know, if you're using our synthetic clay or our fine surface prep mitt, you could also use a bucket of diluted wash water with this, since you already got, you know, the wheel wet and water around. I gave it a quick dry just to make sure we didn't have any dirty water. You'll see in the backs of the spokes here, these are more of a textured kind of machined face that's painted over. So those are always going to hold on to dust and grit more and tend to get kind of stained. So you can see in there, I mean, I hit these like 3 or 4 times with iron and fallout. We could keep hitting them and let them dwell, and that would eventually break down. For time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and keep moving here.
So which tool are you going to use? Are you going to use the clay or the synthetic clay?
I was going to show both.
Okay.
They're both good options.
Just keep in mind with our standard paint cleaning clay, if you don't have a specific wheel cleaning clay, which we still have for sale at a nice discounted price, designate a piece to your wheels. So the same way we're going to designate towels, we're going to take wheel dust and this wheel decontamination with a piece that we tear off, and depending on how soiled it is, we may just discard that at the end of the job.
That's a great point, Nick. You never want to use clay that you've used on your wheels back on your paint. It's going to hold on to all that brake dust, and that'll cause havoc on your paint surface. I'll add a little more speed shine, but we pretty much coated the whole inside, and we'll just get to claying. So really similar process as what you would do on your paint. Normally the barrels are going to be a lot grittier than what you're used to on a painted surface.
Yeah, it sounds mouth-watering from here.
Oh yeah, it's real nice. You can feel. I mean, look at that. That is money.
Matt, can we get a shot of that? That's not even half
Yeah,
of the
here,
wheel
I
barrel
can just
right
walk
here.
it up to the camera. I mean, that was like 10 seconds of play. Too close. Sorry. How's that?
Yeah, so we're getting some gnarly pull
Pretty
out of that
heavy.
wheel really quick.
Coming off there. So since we're getting that heavy, I'm going to go ahead and fold this into itself already. We'll want to do that frequently. Add some more lubrication there.
Stevie, how we doing in the chat? Where are my Griot twins? They here?
I haven't seen them, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Jonathan Garza did ask, back to the Boar's hairbrush that you were using on the lug nuts, would you want a separate one for the wheels and the interior?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Do not bring your wheel tools around to the rest of the car. This is just a simple rule of law. You do not, no matter how clean you think that is, all it takes is one tiny little iron particle to be dragged across your clear-coated carbon fiber center console or your
black
LED
trim.
screen or your hood, for goodness sake. Just keep them separate. In fact, one way to think about it is if you buy products for your interior and they're starting to wear out, delegate them to wheel use.
Yep.
So you can always kind of move them down in terms of the dirty work. Don't bring the dirty work into your clean spaces, your high-end finishes.
Yeah, really anything you use on your wheels should be dedicated to the wheels.
Yeah, and if you don't want to go buy cheap microfiber, but you're wearing towels out over time, again, just move them down the list. Those are your door jamb towels. Those are your wheel towels. We have towels for every specific task, but you don't have to throw these things out until they're really have run the gamut of this towel just did the worst job, and I don't know what's in it. I'm not going to put this on my cat or my dog. I'm throwing it in the trash.
Now, this might be a situation where I don't do all four wheels.
Yeah, all right. I mean, we're going to run out of time, and people.
This is giving me a run for my money, man.
Yeah. No, it's great. We did our one of Griot's Motors shop techs, Carter. We did his. He's got I don't know how many sets of wheels he's got for his E36, but one of them
Too many.
Yeah, one of them was an older set of BMW wheels, and I remember the same feeling. Just I was doing the back. And I think I went through an entire wheel cleaning clay.
This thing's gonna be torched when we're done,
but it was so satisfying. You just rub your hand on the inside of a wheel
it's okay,
barrel.
Matt. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not that bad.
Yeah, this is not
a pretty standard issue.
This is not a personal attack on the car owner. This is just, we're showing you the best way to do it. And guess what? He gets 50% of the job done, and now he's got to do the other half.
Odds are my Land Cruiser wheels are worse. So
yeah. Oh, I haven't taken my Jeep wheels off since I put tires on them, so that was 5,000 miles ago.
I got put some new pads on the front of the Cruiser last year, and they are heavy dusting.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a pause. We are still going to give away another kit or two, so submit your questions to Stevie. Stevie, you got to find some winners for us. But this is a great time to remind you guys, we have a promo code. SMHL5, spend $100, get a free heavy-duty wheel cleaning kit worth $40. And then, if you're liking what you're seeing on this live, we've got a really, really fun event coming up next Saturday. We're going to repeat our virtual caffeine and gasoline series. This will be number 3. We do have a very special celebrity guest joining us. He is a famous Motor Trend TV host from Overhauling and the Barrett-Jackson Live. His name's Chris Jacobs. You may know of him. He's going to come on and he's going to talk about your cars. He's going to pick a winner or two as part of our categories that we're doing. So if you haven't participated in that yet, we had a lot of fun last Saturday doing that. And we're going to do it again. We're going to do giveaways. And you may get the chance to have Chris Jacobs talk about your car along with Richard and myself. So submit your car using either the hashtag virtualCNG on Instagram or Facebook, or email us at social@griotsgarage.com. We have a list of stuff that we want you to submit to us so we don't have to guess and chase you down and get 4 emails. The more photos and information and details on why that car is special to you helps us determine how we put it up. We need full-size photos, not little thumbnails. Take your thumb off your iPhone camera, get a nice shot, Don't do anything dangerous in this time of social distancing and quarantine, okay? We don't want you hanging off an overpass just for that shot, all right?
Make sure there's at least one shot of the full car,
Yeah.
too. We got a few submissions of like the hood or
We're not
trunk.
expecting you guys to be professional photographers, but just saying, you might have a really, really nice car that we can talk about, but if we can't show it to anybody, it's not getting talked about. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We love hanging out with you guys. We hope all of you are happy and healthy and safe. We're hoping that, actually, I know a couple of states are starting to phase their way out of this quarantine, so hopefully everything continues to go smoothly.
Open the world.
We get back to normal here. Hopefully we get some car shows soon too, man.
Yes.
I want a car show.
Spring, baby.
Yeah.
Show season.
We're past the pollen here, but
Well,
you know.
don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, okay, we still got some work to do.
Drop
hope
Top
we are,
72
too.
asked if Caffeine and Gasoline is open to motorcycles too, and it is. Motorcycles, boats,
Yeah.
RVs.
All vehicles.
Airplanes, helicopters, what you got? Send
Planes,
it our
trains,
way.
automobiles.
Don't detail your kids. We don't want to see any kind of child protective services situation sent our way. All right. I guess you could do baby don't cry shampoo through a foam gun, but please, 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 I don't want to see that. I don't. I watched my little kid roll down the hill and get all muddy the other day, and that's. I was thinking about a foam gun as I picked him up, like, oh man.
I have a feeling my kids would probably enjoy it too much.
Yeah. Okay.
All
So Sam, how's it going over there? You having
It's
fun?
going great. Yeah, we got the barrel pretty dang smooth right now. So anything that's left is really pitting or defects that are likely not going to come out unless we were to refinish. I always like to do the mechanical decontamination before I go to use a chemical for tar removal. A lot of times your paint clay or your surface prep mitt or pad will take off a lot of that tar and you may not need a specific tar remover product. So in this case, that's really what happened. We don't have really any tar left on this wheel. There's a couple spots that look like it that are just minor little chips, but that guy is nice and clean. So I'm gonna flip it and we'll do the face. The faces normally go much faster for the decon process, unless you have a vehicle where the wheels have been neglected and you've got some caked on brake dust in the corner of your spokes. That can sometimes pose slight issues, but normally it's going to be a little easier on the face.
Yeah, and it's important to note too that in this process we've got chemical decontamination in iron and fallout, mechanical decontamination with clay, and then potentially another chemical step in a tar and adhesive remover for that stubborn tar. But part of the reason we clay first is we're hoping that claying process pulls some of that out before you have to use that additional chemical.
Exactly.
And also, if you clay, you run the risk, or you reduce the risk of dragging any of those contaminants across the wheel via the clay process, or via the more acidic, adhesive and tar removal process.
So we got some pitting and corrosion around the hub mounting point there. We got some there. It is always beneficial to break out a light wire brush or a light Scotch-Brite pad and scrub off some of this corrosion before you remount the wheel to the vehicle. Just makes for a better mounting surface. We'll keep
Makes
playing.
it come off easier the next time too.
Yes.
Stevie, we got any questions worthy of a giveaway yet?
I'm letting you guys choose the winners. We did have Extreme Details ask, though, if there's any update on that barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce. No. No update. The search continues, as the water boy would say.
The search continues.
Patrick Donahue did ask a good question. He said, what's the best solution to clean your wheels and tires when using a waterless wash?
Oh, great question.
That's a great question.
So we don't have them merchandised here, but any of our reduced water options are great for wheel cleaning.
Light duty wheel.
Yeah, you're not going to want to do it after, again, 1,000 miles with your race compound brake pads. But if you're doing routine cleaning weekly, you should be able to utilize spray-on car wash, rinseless wash and wax, or Brilliant Finish rinseless wash in either their pre-diluted ratios of 15:1 and 6:1 for for the 2 rinseless options, or our ready-to-use spray-on car wash. And again, you're gonna spray or apply those to a wet towel. That wet towel is going to be designated to the wheels and tires. And again, you're simply going to spray for spray-on car wash, allow it to dwell, and wipe away with the towel. Again, that's a pretty messy process relative to a hose and water, but it is possible to do safely. You just want to avoid those extremely heavily contaminated circumstances. Just with everything as it relates to waterless or reduced water washing, if you think you might want to use more water as a matter of safety, do it.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. And you already emphasized dedicated towels.
Yes, dedicated towels, dedicated tools. Do those last. And again, if you've got our microfiber plush edgeless towels, those are nice towels. You probably shouldn't use those on your wheels at the end of a rinseless process.
Yeah. I'm going to run and grab one more towel, dry that off.
Eric Thibault, sorry. He asked, why is it that I think I have everything I need, then watch a new topic here on the live, and I feel I need to start a new shopping list?
Well, I mean,
sorry.
Hey, part of the nice thing about the garage and being productive is having the right tool for the job. If we have illuminated something that makes your life easier, great. You know, we try and create solutions to problems. And there's a wide variety of situations in which different chemicals are better. Likewise, we're not going to stop developing products just because we're content at this current time. There are constantly changing, circumstances as it relates to paints, preferences of wheel finishes, vinyl wraps, all these other materials that are now incorporated into cars, and the wide variety of materials in cars. So. Again, hopefully we're educating you, and if that means turning the light on about something you need, sorry.
Hey, it's always good to have the right tools, the right process.
Yeah.
So, we've got a nice, clean, dry wheel now. If you're going to polish, this is the time to do it. On this painted wheel, I don't really see anything that needs polishing here. You could come in with a little hand pad and get a couple sections that appear to have some light water spots. But that would be, preference-based depending on the vehicle and what you're expecting to do with it. So now we're ready for protection, really. I'm going to dry the barrel real quick, and then
We'll talk about some protective options. But like you said, with a clear-coated wheel like that, or painted wheel, you have a ton of options as it relates to curing that clear coat or paint with really the same products you'd use for your paint clear coat. You could use any of our Boss creams, Liquid Wax 3-in-1, one-step sealant. Those are going to have some of that light polishing or cleaning capability. The all-in-ones leave some protection behind. But if you're trying to really polish them up and brighten them up and they're painted, you're essentially doing the same process as you would on your car's paint. But you're going to have a little bit more intricate space. Sometimes you can use a 3-inch tool for that, or just do it by hand and get some great results. I think with these particular products, Sam's going to demonstrate applying ceramic 3-in-1 wax, as we don't see a strong need to do this. Now, if you have raw aluminum, magnesium wheels, you're going to need metal polish as part of its cleaning process. One of the best litmus tests is get a soft cotton towel or microfiber towel and do a little hand polish on an inconspicuous spot. If it turns black, you're polishing metal, in which case you would opt for a metal polish. If you aren't seeing that, you're most likely, especially with one of the materials we'll get to, we got some questions about, you're most likely dealing with clear coat. Now, this is a common misunderstanding as it relates to modern PBD coatings, where somebody thinks they've got a chrome wheel. It may appear chrome, but it's actually clear coat applied on top of a chrome-esque finish.
Yep.
And so I'm going to polish this chrome wheel with metal polish. Well, you're actually just polishing clear coat, and you have no need for the metal polish. So be careful of that.
Yeah, you'll also run into chrome wheels where it's not true chrome. I know some of the Mopar vehicles, you have a chrome plastic cover over like a mag wheel. So watch out for that as well when you're selecting your wheel cleaning products.
Yeah.
Ceramic 3-in-1 wax has quickly become my favorite protectant for wheels because it's so easy to apply. Simply spray it on, dry it off. really simple to do when the wheel's off the car too, because you can get the barrel at the same time. So that's probably the hardest thing about doing the wheels on. You're not going to really be able to get protection on the barrel with the wheels on the car. So.
And Brad Mays just asked if there's anything you can spray on the wheels to make brake dust not stick. And ceramic 3-in-1 is a great example of a protectant that you can put on the wheels that'll put a barrier between the wheel and the brake dust.
Yeah, even if you opted for a more high solid wheel coating, there are those on the market, you're not going to have a completely impenetrable wheel, right? You're still going to, I mean, these tiny little ferrous particles are going to find their way into the paint's pores or in the ceramic coating, and then eventually into the wheel or its paint. Now you're going to find that routine maintenance is going to become easier, and obviously if you're maintaining it routinely, you're going to prevent those things from bonding long term, preventing more serious damage such as the pitting, which we saw.
Yeah, there's not really any product out there that's going to like prevent you from ever having to clean your wheels again.
Yeah. Now you can put paint sealants and waxes on your wheels as well. The one thing to be sure of is that your wheel goes through a ton of heat cycles for something that's painted, way more than your painted surfaces or your glass does in terms of extremes. And it's also exposed. It's the lowest part of your vehicle. It gets the most road grime. So it's hard to promise a lot of durability out of a standard paint sealant or wax on your wheels. That's why the ceramic options are so popular on wheels. They just have a little bit longer life. There is no silver bullet for proper wheel protection, but those ceramics definitely are a step in the right direction.
Yes.
We did have a couple questions about Plastidip as well. So I think we should probably address that.
Oh, Plastidip.
We have had some about rattle canned wheels as well.
What was that?
We have had some about rattle canned wheels as well.
Rattle can wheels, okay. I'm not going to lay into rattle cans as much as Plastidip, but...
yeah, rattle can is superior to Plastidip.
Yeah. Now, so Plastidip, obviously, it's fun, right? You can change your wheel colors. I know I Plastidip my wife's wheels black when she had a silver Tahoe. I applied a very thick red Plastidip to my E30 wheels. And long story short, Plastidip is a terrible product to put on your wheels if you're trying to keep them clean long term.
Especially if they're getting dirty.
Yeah.
Like.
It's extremely porous, and at some point you are rubbing off some of the Plastidip as part of your cleaning, creating deeper and or more pores for brake dust to settle in, so it just becomes worse and worse over time. Now, if you're doing Plastidip for a couple months and removing it and taking it back off, good on you. You have more free time than I do. But all of our wheel cleaners are going to be safe for Plastidip, just following the same process. You may not want to do high pressure rinses with a pressure washer on Plastidip. You may see some fraying at the edge of your wheels because obviously the paint ends at the wheel face, which is between the bead of the tire and the end of the wheel face. So if you're high pressure rinsing that, you may see some actual removal of the Plastidip. So be sensitive to that. But in terms of routine maintenance, it's just hard to do it.
Yeah,
it's harder.
I think one thing that a lot of people forget too is traditionally applied Plastidip isn't intended to be a permanent coating.
Yeah.
Normally, it's meant as a a temporary coating. It's tough to maintain, as we said. It's porous. Normally it's matte or satin, which makes things stick and makes it harder to take off. So. Yeah,
on my M3, I had a vinyl wrap and bright red Plastidip, and when it was clean, it looked killer. But I only got those wheels clean probably twice, at least to my level of satisfaction. And then every other time they were cleaner with obvious brake dust embedded in the Plastidip. So it was unfortunate. And then it was a pain in the ass to remove. So just, if you really want to change your wheels, pick a color you can live with and pay to get it powder coated, or scuff them and spray paint them. That's definitely more permanent, easier to maintain.
Yeah, and if you get some practice with some spray paint, you can do a nice, base coat, clear coat, and get very similar durability as what you would on a factory painted wheel. So
yeah,
it's definitely possible to get a nice looking wheel at home. You just gotta do your research and don't rush it.
I think that wheel's looking pretty darn good, man.
It is, yeah. That came out really nice. The ceramic added some gloss. You can really feel the slickness too on the face and the barrel, which is going to help prevent any dust from sticking. So this one's ready to go back on the car. Get dressed. You know, before we do put it back, this is a great time to address your suspension and brake caliper. I don't think we quite have enough time to do that today, but
Yeah.
you can use a lot of the same products that we use on the wheel on your suspension. So like I'll use HD wheel cleaner on the caliper and pieces in there as well. Rubber cleaner or foamy tire cleaner for your wheel well liners.
Yeah, and as you address the hub too, get a brass brush and scrape off that oxidation. It's normal. You know, you can go a little crazy and paint them. I mean, I painted my calipers when my wheels were off, but yeah, I mean, it's a great time to address all of the kind of things you don't get a chance to. Clean it. If you've got a painted caliper, like a red caliper, clean that thing up.
And no better time while you're quarantined at home, right?
Yeah, especially because, you know, if you're trying to clean your wheels with the wheels on and you're cleaning with a big brake that's coming up to the edge of the wheel, you're going to find it hard to get around that caliper for one, without moving the wheel. And then B, you're going to clean parts of the caliper and then all of a sudden the part that's behind the spoke is now dirty. So it could drive you nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a question about the carpet wheel well liners, which we've got on the back here. Of course, we don't have this wheel off, but when the wheels are on, like we mentioned, pressure washer is by far the best way to get that wheel well liner clean. When the wheels are off, though, and you have more access, you could use our silicone brush to remove those pine needles and get all that crud out of the carpet. So it's normally used for pet hair and interiors, but it's also great for just pulling any type of, you know, gritty contaminant like pine needles, grass, stuff like that out of a carpet fiber. So you can scrub it, you know, and then either vacuum it or pressure wash it afterwards, and that'll get it nice and clean. Of course, next time you drive, you're probably going to pick stuff up, and depending on how crazy you are, you may or may not get those fabric liners completely clean, but
Yeah.
it's hard to do.
All right, Stevie, any winners?
Eric Walks did ask if we have any detailing tools that we like to use for detailing that aren't necessarily intended for detailing. Someone sounded off in the comments saying a toothbrush.
I like
I'm not
old
sure if you guys-
toothbrushes. I like, you know.
Yeah, just be careful where you use them.
Yeah.
I would say the bristles aren't quite as gentle as you might think.
No, I mean, for me, I've been doing, you know, some old trim restoration on my Jeep, and I pulled it off, and I've got these tiny little spots. And you know, again, if you're using a safe cleaner and you're not using a ton of pressure, that's one that's acceptable. I generally prefer horsehair, boar's hair for that, but that's one I kind of find myself going to every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Great way to give more life to your old toothbrush.
Yeah. Now, if you're asking us and you're using toothbrushes, we should probably give that guy a giveaway, and then we can wrap up here.
Yep. Another thing that's kind of an off-label use, not necessarily, but brake cleaner when you're doing your suspension and your brake parts can be a quick and easy way to get those clean and just tackle some of the stuff that a wheel cleaner won't normally attack. So
Yeah.
we're going to go ahead and put this wheel back on now.
All right, so whoever asked that question, Stevie, they're our last giveaway winner. Just to remind everybody, if you're watching this, you go to the store, spend $100 with us, you will get a free HD wheel cleaning kit. I would encourage you, if you haven't tried any of these wheel cleaning tools that we alluded to today, they're extremely effective, and this is the time to stock up and get that wheel cleaning kit with a couple of those tools included. So that code is SMHL5 at checkout. And thank you again for watching. If you're going to be with us the next time we do a live event, that is our virtual Caffeine and Gasoline. That is next Saturday. We will have a very special celebrity guest, Chris Jacobs of Overhauling and Barrett Jackson fame. He's going to be doing some judging with us and talking about your cars. So if you want to submit your car and participate for a chance for giveaways and have your car talked about by a celebrity and myself and my dad, submit using either the hashtag virtualCNG or email us at social@griotsgarage.com. Do not leave any stone unturned as it relates to giving us information about your car. We love hearing why it's special, any family connection, what you're doing to pass the time in this quarantine. what's your next restoration project or detailing project. Give us a lot so we can talk about it. The more you give us, the better photos you give us. You can give us videos as well. The better chance you're going to have that we find you and talk about you on that next upcoming virtual Caffeine and Gasoline. So without further ado, I think we're going to log off unless you want to put that wheel back on while we're live.
I'm throwing it back on. The one thing I want to say is never fully tighten your lug nuts with an impact gun. Always use a torque wrench.
Oh yeah, we do have a pretty nice torque wrench from USAG as well. So any last chance scrambling questions, Stevie? All right. Well, let's sign off and we'll put that thing back on afterwards.
All right.
So thank you all for watching. Again, be sure to tune in next time or next week for our virtual Caffeine and Gasoline. And so long and have fun in your garage.
Have fun in your garage.
Have fun in your garage.